Hello everyone. Today we will be studying about the nervous system. So what is the nervous system? As the name suggests, the nervous system consists of nerves. Alright? So what is the nervous system? The nervous system consists of specialized cells called nerve cells or neurons that carry electrical impulses throughout the body and bring about its coordination. What does it mean? It means that a nervous system contains some specialized cells called neurons, okay, which carry electrical impulses throughout the human body and stimulate different cells and organs of the body to carry out their functioning. Alright, this nervous system consists of these neurons. So, if we are to know about what these neurons are, we can say that these are the longest cells of the human body. Neurons are the longest cells of the human body. Just like any other cell, they have a nucleus and other cell organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes, lysosomes, etc. But they lack one cell organelle, that is centrosome. They lack centrosomes. Why? Because centrosomes are those cell organelles that are mainly associated with the process of cell division. And nerve cells are such cells which have lost the ability to divide. They cannot carry out cell division and form more cells. Alright? These nerve cells consist of primarily three parts. Alright? Cyton, axon, and the axon terminal or the axon ending. You can also call the axon terminal as the axon ending. Alright, fine. So let's get into the detailed structural study of neuron. Okay, a neuron has a central body. Okay, a neuron has a central body called as the cyton. This cyton is also called as perikaryon. It can also be, in simple terms, called as the cell body. This is the body of the cell. This is the body of the nerve cell. This cyton has a nucleus, just like any other cell. Every cell has a nucleus. Surrounding the nucleus, there is cytoplasm, the cell matrix. Alright. In this cytoplasm, there are certain granule-like structures which are termed as the nasal granules. What is the function of these nasal granules? Nasal granules carry out the process of protein synthesis. Alright. From this central body, certain extensions can be seen, and these extensions are called as the dendrons. Okay, these structures are called as the dendrons. From these dendrons, even further fine root-like structures arise, which are termed as the dendrites. These root-like structures are known as the dendrites. Okay, now from this cell body or the cyton, a long wire-like structure emerges. This wire-like structure is known as the axon. Okay, this axon has an insulating covering over it. Okay, this axon has an insulating covering over it. This insulating covering serves a similar purpose like the rubber insulation over copper wires that you see in your house. Okay, they prevent the current from leaking out of the wire. Okay, Although the axon is not exactly like a wire, but since it carries electrical impulses through it, it also needs some insulation, just to prevent any leakage of electrical impulses out of it. Okay, so this is the axon. This long structure is the axon, and these surrounding structures, these are termed as the myelin sheath. This is termed as the myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is an insulating layer. Fine. This myelin sheath is generally whitish in color, alright, and it has a thin sheath over it. Yes, the myelin sheath has another thin sheath over it known as the neurolemma. You can also call the neurolemma as neurolemma. It's the same thing. Okay. These myelin sheaths are produced by certain cells called as the Schwann cells. Okay. These are produced by certain cells called as the Schwann cells. Fine. Now, this is where the axon ends. This axon ending or axon terminal is where the neuron ends. Okay, this is the terminal ending of the neuron. Okay, this is known as the axon terminal. From this axon terminal, certain root-like extensions arise, and at their ends they have certain blob-like structures or bulb-like structures known as the synaptic bulbs. These synaptic bulbs contain a chemical, a specific type of chemical known as neurotransmitters. Okay, they contain a specific type of chemical known as the neurotransmitters. Okay, neurotransmitters. Now let us understand how an electric impulse travels through this neuron. Okay. Okay. First, let us understand that this neuron I drew here is just a single neuron. There are several neurons on the top and below it. Okay, what I mean to say is, this is a neuron, another neuron is present just above this neuron, and one more neuron is present just below this neuron. Okay, fine. And like I said, electrical impulses flow through these neurons. We now have to understand how it flows. Okay, first, this structure called dendrite, the function of this dendrite is to receive the electrical impulse from the neuron above it. Okay, the function of this dendrite is to receive the electrical impulse from its previous neuron. Okay, from the dendrite, okay, this is the dendrite. From the dendrite, it then goes into the dendron. From the dendrite, these root-like structures are the dendrites, and these thick structures below the dendrites are known as the dendrons. Okay, these thick structures are the dendrons, just they are present just below the dendrites. Fine. So the electrical impulse is received by the dendrites, it then passes on to the dendrons, then it goes into the cyton, the cell body. Okay, it goes into the cyton. From the cyton, it is then passed downwards through the axon. It is passed down to the axon. Okay, it is passed down to the axon, and when it reaches the end of the axon, that is the axon terminal, an interesting process occurs. Alright, okay. These electrical impulses are stored in these bulb-like structures called as synaptic bulbs. Okay, electrical impulses are stored in these synaptic bulbs. Like I said, these synaptic bulbs contain certain chemicals called neurotransmitters. Okay, now what is the function of these neurotransmitters? Okay, let us understand one more thing, that like you may think, these neurons aren't directly connected to each other. Okay, it's not like electrical wires that you just take two ends of wires and just wind them up. Okay, there is some gap between two neurons. Okay, the gap between two neurons is known as synapse, or you can also call it as synaptic cleft. Okay, there is a gap between two neurons which is called as the synapse or the synaptic cleft. Fine. Now, since the electrical impulse has reached the neurotransmitter, okay, now neurotransmitters will be released from the synaptic bulbs. Okay, neurotransmitters will be released from the synaptic bulbs, and as I said, there is another neuron below this neuron. That means the dendrites of the next neuron will be close to the synaptic bulb of this neuron, right? So when these neurotransmitters, these chemicals, come in contact with the dendrite of the next neuron, they set up another electrical impulses. They set up a wave of another set of electrical impulses that passes down that neuron in the same way as this one. Okay, when these neurotransmitters come in contact with the dendrite of the next neuron, they set up a wave of electrical impulses that pass down that neuron in the same way as it passed down through this neuron. Okay, that is how an electrical impulse is transmitted over a neuron. Okay, now you may be wondering one thing: what is this node of Ranvier? It's actually my fault, I forgot to mention this. Sorry about that. Now you can see this myelin sheath is not a continuous sheath like you see on copper wires. Okay, the rubber insulation over the copper wires is continuous, but this myelin sheath is not a continuous sheath. It has certain nodes, certain notches. These notches or nodes, these nodes are called as the nodes of Ranvier. Okay, are called as the nodes of Ranvier. Okay, fine. In the next class, we will try to understand the exact mechanism of how this nerve impulse passes over the nerve cell. Okay, thank you for watching.